Hello everyone, and welcome back to another Gran Turismo 7 video. Now, I said last time, my worries of Gran Turismo 7. Some of you took it a little bit the wrong way and was like, why aren't you saying this? Why aren't you saying that, Tidge? Well, they were my worries. If I did everyone's worries, it'd be about 3 hours long. And we're not doing that. This time, we're doing my hypes. So what am I hyped for with Gran Turismo 7? Because I'm looking forward to playing the game. There's a lot of things coming, and I'm certainly hyped for a few of those things. So once again, we're going to try and do it in 7 minutes-ish. And I'm going to go through some of the things in State of Play that happened. And yeah, what do we know so far? What are my hypes? Let's go with the first one. And it's a bit of a weird one because I've said more cars and tracks will be added.
And more tracks and cars will be added in future online updates.
Which is an interesting one because then you're like, well, why aren't they added now? But that's a good thing. It means they're going to keep the game updated. It's perfect. A bit like GT Sport, we had constant updates. We had lots of new tracks come. We have Daytona back, of course. We have some of the old school tracks back. Trail Mountain, Deep Forest, High Speed Ring, they're back. But we have more tracks to come, which is good. It's awesome. It's brilliant for us. It means that we get to experience new content throughout GT7, which is perfect for me, and I am hyped about that because of, I'm not saying anything, things I know, let's put it that way, of what potentially could be coming. Obviously in the past, for example, let's remember we had Silverstone in the game. There was rumours of Silverstone coming to GT Sports. Is it going to come to GT7? I've no idea. That would be awesome. But let's see and find out. And there's going to be more cars added as well. I'd like to see some of the manufacturers we haven't seen yet join, such as Bentley, Lotus. That would be so good. But I am hyped the fact that they are going to keep the game updated. Hopefully we have as frequent updates as we've had with GT Sports. And the game is just going to be good. Let's be honest with the amount of tracks. And remember, they have to be accurate as well. Next up, it's involving those tracks. It's day, night, and wet weather. This is brilliant because one thing that I think really lacks in GT Sports is that day to night transition and also the dry to wet weather. Obviously, wet weather was introduced during GT Sports. In fact, they had to change the physics of the whole game to make it workable, it seems, especially with some of the MR cars, which used to be dead oversteery, aren't as oversteery now. And I'm pretty sure that was to do with that physics and making it so that the wet weather was at least drivable. Let's put it that way. So, of course, we've got day, night, wet weather. It's awesome. I'd love to do 2, 3, 4 hour races, of course. Maybe even a 24-hour race if there's driver changes possible, but we don't know anything about that. But yeah, day, night transition, 3, 4 hours where you go from the daytime into the evening, just seeing that sunset, the reflections, maybe some wet weather coming in. Oh, so beautiful. I love that kind of stuff. It really, really, really is nice. When I've experienced it in previous games as well, it's just so nice to see the sun rising or sun setting, just a change of atmosphere, changing your braking points. It's so good. And of course, that means I can't use shadows anymore for braking zones, which some of you hate anyway. But hey, there you have it. Day, night, wet weather. I am looking forward to it. Now, I mentioned this in the My Worries video, this next point, the wet weather radar. Now, as much as I hate it being on that mini display on the right and potentially covering up other aspects, I do love the weather radar. I think it's awesome. So it's not a case of, oh, it's going to be wet weather in half an hour and it's just the same sort of transition that we have in other games, like Assetto Corsa. It's literally going to be a case of, you look at that weather radar and you go, okay, well, if it's going at this speed, we could get wet weather in X amount of time. That means I might have to pit in Y laps. And you're going to have to properly think about this to some extent. And it's going to obviously create some exciting racing. And I love that kind of stuff because it's not as straightforward like we've had in the past in Gran Turismo, where if it gets to a set dryness, it's instant tires, etc., and you can work it out. It's going to be very difficult to work out how that wet weather comes in, you know, the strength of it, the speed at which it comes in. Honestly, I think it's going to be awesome, that part of it. I really do, because there's just more strategy involved. I do like the strategy part of wet weather racing. It's so, so good. I've experienced that on other games as well, where, you know, you're having to work out, when do I need to change tires? At what point do we go longer? Do we go shorter? And, you know, if there was driver changes and stuff like that, oh my word, it adds even more. Please bring in driver changes. But yeah, that wet weather radar is actually awesome. I love the strategic play in terms of that wet weather. It is awesome, awesome, awesome. I'm really hyped for that. I think it'd be so good. I just wish it was on a different app. I can't remember what you call them at the bottom, so that I could see the wet weather radar and have the radar on there as well. Or maybe combine them, as somebody mentioned in the previous video, which is an awesome thing. Or somebody else mentioned it. Sorry, I forgot who this was because we had a lot of comments. Literally, the track map, obviously, we know that exists. Just have it cover that so you could see it coming in, and maybe the strength of the wind coming in. There's so many possibilities that could happen there, and they may change it, obviously. We've no idea, because obviously that is obviously pre-launch. We don't know what's going to be at launch because things do change all the way up until release day, and we've already had an update to GT7 in the background anyway because the size has increased, which means there's more content in there, or something's changed at least, because it was quite a big increase, to be honest. Next up, customized races. So they specifically say you can pick the AI cars that you want to race. Now they specifically say that, or
In the custom race mode, you can combine things like weather conditions and AI cars of your choice.
pick cars. So we see Le Mans, we see some LMP1, and we see some GTE. Technically it's Group 3 and Group 1, let's be real here, with Gran Turismo. So it's really nice to be able to do that. Now, of course, it doesn't actually say it's an actual feature multi-class. It doesn't actually say that, but to be able to do that is at least a step forward, which is nice. It's really, really nice. Hopefully they can continue that step forward, potentially have it in online racing. Imagine a daily race where you can pick either a Group 3 car or a Group 1 car, and you pick it, and then you end up in a lobby based on that. Oh, the possibilities. Oh, that would be nice. Really, really nice. But it also doesn't say we're not limited, because it says pick cars. So does that mean we can pick some meme races? Let's just say we put the AI out there. We don't specifically race in the track. We put the AI in the Group 1 long boy for Nissan, and then we also put the oldest car in history out there as well. And we watch long boy just lap it continuously, just out of hilarity. Who knows? And maybe when GT Sophie comes in, that's even more funny when it gets to it and it's like, "Whoa, my word, what do I do here?" Could be interesting. Could be interesting indeed. But hey, if we could pick any car and create some weird and wacky races, that's kind of cool. And it's kind of cool for those that don't play online as well, because they can really have that customized and personal play in terms of GT7. Yeah, it's nice. Next up, following on with the customization, there's lots of different types of races, and I do like that. Now, obviously, I won't be able to play Music Rally on stream or anything, but I don't really mind that. I'll play Music Rally off stream and enjoy it myself. We've got drifting in there. We've seen that. It's really, really in depth with that smoke graphic as well. That looks really nice. Rally and drag racing, meeting places. I'm thinking, the TCR meeting place. That would be kind of awesome. But one thing I am also hoping is, because they've looked at this and gone, well, what does everyone like playing? Please, 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 fingers crossed. Shuffle racing, bring it back. I'm hoping it comes back. I've got a bit of hype for it in the hope that it does. Shuffle racing was awesome back in the day. If you never experienced it, essentially it was an online racing feature. You set the lobby to shuffle racing. There'd be a variety of cars you can pick from. And it's random as well, so you just hit enter race. It picks a car, you race that car. If you win, you get one of the slower cars in that list. If you are coming at the back, you get one of the faster cars. And it just created some interesting racing, because every race, you got a different car. The odd time you got the same car, obviously, but most of the time you got a different car. It was awesome, so I'm really, really hoping Shuffle Racing comes back. But it's nice that the fact we have these meeting lobbies and different racing styles with the music rally, the drifting. It's just good. It really, really, really is good. And it's nice that they are really appealing to everybody and trying to bring everybody in to enjoy driving how they want to drive. It's top notch, let's be honest. Right, next up, we have customization of cars. Now, before anyone goes, "Hey, you hated that in the last video." No, I said it was a worry for online racing. But in terms of customizing cars, I think it's awesome. Now, it reminds me of back in the day with Need for Speed Underground 2. I used to love that game. I customized for days as a kid on that game. But the ability to be able to do engine swaps, I mean, we saw that. It's not been fully confirmed, but the Beetle had an engine swap in there. It had a Porsche engine in. That was kind of crazy to me. And literally as well, what they've solved, it appears to have solved, if you played GT Sport and went in the road cars, especially the higher category cars, N800, N900, N1000, they would literally braking 5 years until you stop. You literally have to brake 300 meters before a corner. It was kind of horrendous, really, in GT Sport, but it appeared in the Beetle footage at least that the Beetle could brake, so you could upgrade the brakes so that the car worked, basically. It actually worked, which is nice. So hopefully that's solved that whole problem with the road cars, where we can solve the braking and we can actually have good races with the road cars, because when you got up to that sort of level of road car, it became very difficult to race them at all, because the braking was so early, the cars were just non-reactive. It felt like it had no downforce. I mean, some of the cars don't have downforce, but some do. They're not rubbish cars in real life. Some of these hypercars, it just felt a bit weird. but the ability to be able to customize a car in your own way. And let's be frank here, there is a Nissan 370Z in there. I own a Nissan 370Z. I'm going to be having a little play with customizing that car in GT7, that's for sure. And that leaves me very hyped because it's interesting of what I could do with it, potentially. Obviously, we're after our dream car. Maybe we'll get that in the future. But 370Z, we'll customize and play with it. Kind of nice. I've got to be honest. It really, really, really is nice. And the fact that we've probably solved the braking as well. Top notch. Now, finally, I've put the livery editor because there's been a huge advancement in the livery editor. Two things with the livery editor, of course. The liveries are transferable to GT7. That is superb. Somebody at Polyphony Digital is doing amazing work there because they've gone, we've got all this work. How do we get it into GT7? We'll do a copy over. It still works. Plus, they've advanced it. So they've removed some limitations with the livery editor, which is awesome. It means that some of you guys who are just so talented. I mean, the amount of liveries that I've seen that I wish I could be able to do. I just can't do it. Literally, it's impossible for me to do. If I've spent a fair few hours, I'd maybe be able to get okay at it, but I say, some of you guys are talented. It's unbelievable. Like, every week when I look at the weekly race guide and I look at the liveries, it's like, oh, I wish I could do that. I wish I could. But it's so good. Even for me, I'm hyped for it because I get to see even more liveries and even more awesome liveries because there's less limitations for you. And it's just superb. So they are my 7 things I am hyped for in GT7. Went well over 7 minutes, of course, because I can't stop talking about this. I'm hyped. I'm excited for this. I really, really am. What are you hyped for in GT7? Let me know in the comments. I'm always interested to hear. This is the things I'm hyped for. Maybe there's some things coming that I could get even more hyped for that we see on launch day. That'd be so good as well. But yeah, that is it for this video. I do hope you've enjoyed it. As always, we'll probably be talking about GT Sophie at some point because we've had some interesting videos lately, especially the media event. That was very interesting. So we'll touch that. And that's why the AI is not featured in this one. But as I say, that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. There are 2 videos there if you want to check them out. One, of course, is my worries for GT7. So they are my specific worries, not yours, but you may have the same worries. If you've got different worries, let me know in that video what they are. But as I say, my logo's there if you want to subscribe to the channel, stay in touch with all the Gran Turismo content. Do give it a like on the way out and enjoy the rest of your day or evening wherever you are around the world.